All right. Yes. I'm your man right here, Curtin ICE. Shadesradio.com, hip-hop-lives.net. You could also catch me on the Twitter at KURTNICEHHL. And of course on Facebook, in the Gospel of Hip Hop group, in the 9 Elements magazine group, hip-hop-lives.net group, and also of course the Shades Radio group too. A lot of interesting things get posted on there weekly, sometimes a couple of times per week. Check out all the for real hip-hop flavor that you crave, original hip-hop music, talk, and culture, right? But peace and blessings to anybody that might be listening to this. And I just wanted to go into something real quick, just a reminder actually, and it's really a call to action for all you people out there that love true school hip hop. This is just a reminder to let you know that in order to preserve hip hop, you have to preserve the hip hopper. All right, this is something that we embraced and learned deeply when we were on the road promoting the Stop the Violence Movement 20-year anniversary and the newly released Gospel of Hip Hop book by KRSONE back in 2009. So from like 2008 to around 2010, 2011 or so, we ran on the road off and on with KRS, promoting the book, promoting the Stop the Violence Movement, going on lecture tours and promotional tours and a lot of shows also. And one thing we used to talk about a lot was, how do you preserve hip hop? How do you preserve hip hop culture? That's as a part of the Temple of Hip Hop at that time. The cause has always been to preserve hip hop culture. Well, how do you preserve hip hop culture? And the answer would always come from the teacher: by preserving the hip hopper. Now, what does that mean, preserve the hip hopper? Well, beyond talking about the sustainable things that a hip hop is going to need for their life in relation to things outside of music and entertainment, like politics and health and psychology, certain things like that. That's how you preserve the hip hop, making sure that he has a sustainable environment. That's one way, but also it's in the preservation of our history and our past. And it's not just the history and the past of the rap folklorists who love to just cover the lives of MCs and say, this is what hip hop is. Look at Tupac's life. This is what hip hop is. Look at Biggie's life. This is where hip hop lives. Jay-Z or Russell Simmons or whoever. You know what I mean? It's not just the mainstream, above ground people that are in your face all the time that are the hip hoppers that we're talking about that need to be preserved, because they're actually just a symptom of the time. They're not really the cause of the time that we live in. The artists and people that benefit most from it, they're really the symptom of the time. The time itself creates a platform for them to exist. So while they might push the envelope on certain areas and certain things might be said by these prominent figures in hip hop, that's not really the full aspect of the time that they're living in. It's not just about them. It's about everybody else, the regular, average, everyday, true school hip hopper, the everyday person that lives the hip hop culture, that allows that person to even have a platform to sell anything or to make any money. It's because of the masses of people that they exist. So those people that you see at the forefront are more so the symptom of the era, not the embodiment and cause of the era, which is really the normal people. So I just wanted to remind you that, if you go to Amazon.com, there's a book on there called Shades of Hip Hop, Underground Scene, New York, New Jersey, 2008 edition. All right. And what that is just a photo journal and recollection of the time period around 2008 on the underground scene in New York and New Jersey. And it makes up through those pictures and through the commentary and the reviews of the normal, regular, everyday artists that are out there in the street every day, going to all the clubs, going to the parties, pursuing their hip-hop dreams as a producer, as an MC, as a DJ, the people, as a photojournalist, as a blogger, as a videographer, all those people that actually participate in hip-hop on a daily basis make the platform and make the room for those big artists to exist and excel. Okay? And this Shades of Hip Hop Underground Scene photojournal on Amazon.com that you can get is an encapsulation of the time around 2008. All right? Where you'll see the underground spots. You'll see the clubs that people go to. And you'll see all the normal faces that were in those spots at that time. These are the people that made up that scene. So when we talk about something being a scene, it's made up of not just the places, but the people that interacted in those places and the time period that place was in its heyday. All right, that's the scene. All right, not SEEN like I seen it. It's seen as in SCENE. Right, it's a scene, like a movie scene. It's a happening. It's an event. And one of those times that's talked about in the book is something that I recently uploaded to YouTube, which is a behind the scenes look at one of the best shows, if not the best show ever, at end of the week, the Pyramid Club's Sunday night showcase, which is an open mic showcase that's going on weekly for the past 14 years. At that point, it was only 8 years, but it was going on 8 years when we actually crushed the building. All right, the building was laid in ruins. Everything it was bodies everywhere. There was mic cords and speakers and split up DJ tables after the whole thing was said and done. Because what we did was we, as part of this promotional tour, and like I recount in the book, there was only 2 times when I really asked KRS-One for a favor. All right, and I did work and stuff like that, and that was a whole point of sacrifice and personal enlightenment that we were on when we were, me, Jaja, the whole Temple of Hip Hop. Shout outs to Realist Reek and Shayu and Hanif Allah and everybody that supported. But like as we were running around the area on this mission, it wasn't really for finances. We weren't doing it for money. You know what I mean? That's not why we're there. Although, shout outs to KRS-One. I must say, shout outs to the brother for looking the brother out for services rendered from time to time. Okay. But, beyond that, we didn't do it for the money. We did it for the love of hip hop culture and trying to preserve hip hop culture, because we was already on that mission before we were, messing with Crits. But what we wanted to see was how what we felt was the best underground showcase in New York, which was end of the week. We wanted that to experience what we saw on the road with KRS ripping up clubs and stuff like that. Now, KRS had never been to EO up to that point. All right, he's been there since, but before then, he had never come to EO Dub. EO Dub's a small place. The Pyramid Club's a tiny-ass little club. It's probably like 100, 200 people could fit in there max. It's a tiny-ass club, right? But that's actually the best place where you'll ever see your favorite artist perform. Like, I've seen KRS perform at huge stadiums and colleges and arenas, and I've seen him perform in Madison Square Garden, okay? But the best places that he actually performed that I've seen of all the shows, whether it's at a school or a beautiful concert hall or SOBs or Hammerstein Ballroom or University of Buffalo or wherever, right? Besides all those spots I've seen, the best places that I ever saw him perform was one spot on the West Coast and one spot on the East Coast. The spot on the West Coast was, I believe, Blake's on Telegraph, right, in Berkeley, California. That was a small-ass club, same situation small ass little. It's not a dive, but it was a small little club bar, and that was an experience. And you'll have to read the book to know why that was really a thing, because it was an ill situation with that one, which was a different reason why the East Coast show, which was EO Dub, was one of the other hot spots. EO Dub was nice because it was packed with for real hip hoppers, New York, New Jersey hip hoppers that have felt the vibration of hip hop, some since the very early days, as some first generation hip hoppers like myself was there. Okay, feeling the essence of true school hip hop when everybody knows and recites the lyrics to a song, going into classics as if it was made yesterday, like the feeling of that classic being bumped in the. Even KRS said, he was like, "Yo, I never felt the floor rumble like this before." You know what I'm saying? Because the bass was crazy, so you had the wall shaking. Every surface had somebody standing on it. Tops of speakers, tables, the edges of the wall. People were standing on every surface, crowded in there, taking pictures, shooting video. It was just a small, intimate space. So, the furthest spot in the room was like 20 feet from the stage. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way to see a show. Right? That's the way to see it. And like I said, I only asked KRS for 2 favors, and this was the first favor that I actually asked him for, because normally he wouldn't have necessarily performed at a little small spot like this when we were about to do a big tour and everything. It was a small spot. You can't really charge that much to perform there. You know what I mean? So you can't really make that much on a club like that. So in an attempt, I was like, yo, just do a walkthrough, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to really do nothing. Just say something to the crowd or whatever, and maybe spit a bar, do a little bit of practice or something like that. I was saying everything I could to convince him to want to come there, because I knew that once he got on stage with the host, which was Big Zoo, Vice Versus, Propane, Nunzio, Webify, Just James Figueroa, shout out to DJ Khaled Brash too, but the whole end of the week staff that and shout out to James Calhoun too, but the whole staff that used to put things together at EO Dub, the show was so crispy because of the host. The host had the routines and the showcase format down packed to where they can get cats on and off the stage and still entertain you in between those segments. So I knew if they could get on stage with Chris, it would be off the hook in there. It would be a breathtaking show. I just had that feeling, all right, because I had faith in EO Dub, and I already know what KRS is capable of. All right, so I know that would be the best hip hop flavor, because normally, when we would do a show, when we would book a show for Chris or whatever, you would tell them that nobody could be on stage. He's going to be up there by himself. He has a set. Just let him do his thing. Put the mics all the way up and just get out the way, and then we'll take care of the rest. But when I was actually going that night to EO Dub to basically collect the other half of the money, you know what I'm saying, because they had to actually pay for the show for Chris to come there. When we actually came there to get the money, the only thing that Zoo and them didn't care about the money, right? Because they was happy to have Chris there. They didn't care about the money at all. All they really cared about was whether they were going to be able to stay on stage when Chris was rocking. So I'm sitting there doing a little negotiation, like wondering why they had this strange look on their face. It was mainly Zoo. Shit, he had this strange look on his face, like, I just want one question to be answered, and that's it. And we ain't getting to it yet. So when we finally got through all the particulars, this is what's going to be needed. I'm going to need this happen, this, that, that, third. And there's no big rider when it's involved with KRS. Have a couple of white towels and some water, and we straight. But I finally said, so, and the last thing is, as far as y'all being on stage, Zoo was like, yeah, can we be on stage? And I was like, yes, man, of course. I want y'all to be on stage. He's like, that's all I wanted to know, and immediately bounced. You know what I'm saying? That's all he wanted to know, because I think that that's what they knew could happen as well. Like, they knew that if they got on stage with Chris, it was going to be some fire happening. And that's exactly what happened. So